Okay, let's just jump right in. When you hear the words Tai Chi, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For a lot of us, it's something, calm, slow, maybe a little bit mysterious. But what if I told you that this ancient art, with its deep philosophical roots, is also a powerhouse of clinically proven science? Well, that's what we're doing today. We're unpacking the hard evidence behind the supreme ultimate.
So let's just get this out of the way right off the bat. The biggest misconception, is this whole thing just a gentle, slow motion workout for older adults? And, it's a fair question, especially based on what we see in the park. But the reality? Oh, it's so much more complex and, frankly, way more impressive.
The answer is a huge, definitive no. What it actually is, according to a mountain of research, is a clinically proven multimodal mind-body intervention. Now, I know that sounds like a mouthful of jargon, but those aren't just buzzwords. It just means that it's a practice that gets to work on multiple systems in your body and your mind all at the same time, with effects that we can actually measure with scientific precision.
All right, so let's get right to it. Let's put the philosophy aside for just a minute and look at the cold, hard numbers. What does the clinical data really show is happening inside the body when someone practices Tai Chi?
Let's start with the hard, because this first number it's just staggering. A huge meta-analysis found that for patients recovering from heart problems, practicing Tai Chi was linked to a 47% reduction in the risk of being hospitalized for heart failure. Seriously, just let that sink in. That is a nearly 50% drop. And here's the kicker. The researchers concluded this wasn't just some preventative thing. This data validates Tai Chi's role as a powerful tool after a cardiac event has already happened. It's an exercise that actively helps the body recover and build back stronger. Okay, so this is where we get to see the invisible made visible. This chart is showing us two key markers for stress: cortisol, which is basically the main stress hormone, and C-reactive protein, a sign of inflammation. And look at this. Across multiple studies, the Tai Chi groups consistently show lower levels of both. So this isn't just about feeling calm. It's a real, measurable change happening at a chemical level in your body. And here is a perfect example of that mind-body connection in action. In one study on seniors with some mild cognitive issues, both Tai Chi and general exercise helped with things like memory. But look at that top line. Only the Tai Chi group kept a stable clinical dementia rating. The general exercise group, on the other hand, actually showed some decline. This tells us that Tai Chi might be doing something really unique to protect the brain. And of course, we've got to talk about the thing Tai Chi is most famous for: balance. And the evidence here is just crystal clear. People who practice it score better on standardized balance tests, they can stand on one leg for way longer, and they're faster in something called the timed up and go test, which is a huge predictor of fall risk. These aren't just small things. They are objective, real-world improvements. Okay, so we've seen what it does. It can lower stress, help protect the brain, seriously improve balance. So the next obvious question is, how? How in the world do these slow, graceful movements lead to such powerful results? Well, to figure that out, we need to pop the hood and look at the body's internal engine. It all starts with this core concept called song. Now, this is not your typical passive, flop on the couch and watch TV kind of relaxation. No way. It's an active skill. Song is a state of controlled relaxation where you are consciously training your body to loosen every joint and release all that deep-seated muscular tension, even while you're moving. And right here, this is the direct link back to that stress hormone chart we saw. By constantly practicing song, you are basically running biofeedback training on yourself. You're teaching your own nervous system to stop its automatic habit of tensing up. This repeated practice is what literally rewires your body to prefer a relaxed state, that rest and digest mode, which is what leads to that measurable drop in stress hormones. The other half of this internal engine is something called the Dantian. The easiest way to think of this is as your body's true center of gravity, its power generator. It's this specific area in your lower abdomen, and in Tai Chi, every single movement, no matter how big or small, has to start right there. So what does that actually feel like? Well, it's a very precise sequence. First, you use your mind, your intention, to sink your awareness down into the Dantian. Then, you start a really subtle movement in your lower belly, timed with your breath. And only then, you let that movement ripple outward to your waist, your torso, and finally, all the way out to your arms and legs. You are literally moving from the inside out. Now, here's a really important piece of the puzzle. You have to understand that Tai Chi isn't just one single thing. It's more like a toolkit. Over hundreds of years, it branched out into 5 major family styles, and each one has its own unique flavor and its own primary goal.
So let's quickly run through them. You've got the original Chen style, which mixes slow, fluid moves with these sudden, explosive bursts of power. It's very martial. Then there's Yang style, which is the one you see most often. It's known for its big, graceful circles and slow, even pace, which is just fantastic for general health. Wu style is much more compact. It uses this cool, leaning stance to build incredible core strength. Sun style is super agile and lively, with these quick, continuous steps that are great for mobility. And then you have the really rare Hao style, with these tiny, almost invisible movements that are all about internal energy.
And, the style you pick can have real-world consequences. Let's circle back to fall prevention. When researchers directly compared Yang and Sun styles, they found that Yang was actually better for improving balance. But why? Well, because its deeper stances and super slow transitions make the body spend more time in those wobbly, unstable states. It's like giving yourself a bigger dose of balance training. The takeaway here is that the style you choose really matters for the result you want.
So as we start to pull all of this together, you see this beautiful connection between the old and the new. The ancient philosophy that inspired all of Tai Chi's circular flowing movements, it has a direct modern biomechanical payoff. It completely avoids the harsh start and stop forces that beat up our joints, which makes it an amazing tool for managing things like arthritis.
And that really brings us to the ultimate point. Tai Chi's power doesn't come from just one thing. It's the seamless integration of all of them. You've got the biomechanics of balance and low-impact movement. You have the neurological regulation you get from practicing song. You've got the meditative focus it takes to remember the choreography. And all of that is tied together by deep, coordinated breath control. None of these pieces work in isolation. The magic is in how they all work together.
Which really just leaves us with one last big question to think about. As we face these growing health challenges, chronic disease, constant stress, an aging population, could this ancient practice, this moving meditation, built on harmony and internal power, actually be one of the most effective, accessible, and scientifically proven keys to our future health?